There is a specific kind of loneliness that nobody talks about enough. It's not the loneliness of being single. It's not the loneliness of an empty apartment or a quiet Friday night by yourself. It's something much more confusing and much more painful than that. It's the loneliness of lying next to someone and still feeling completely alone. It's sitting across from a person who is supposed to be your partner, your safe place, your person, and feeling an invisible wall between you that you don't know how to name or how to climb. You're not alone in the technical sense, but you feel it deeply, in the silence after conversations that never quite go where you needed them to go, in the way their eyes move past you instead of landing on you, in the way you've started keeping your real feelings to yourself, because it just feels easier than trying to explain them again. If you know that feeling, if something in those words just landed somewhere tender inside you, this video is for you. And I want you to know something before we go any further. Feeling this way does not mean you failed. It does not mean your relationship is beyond saving. It means something important needs to be seen. And today, we're going to see it together. Here are 6 signs you feel alone even while you're in a relationship. Sign number 1, you edit yourself before you speak. You have a thought, a feeling, something that matters to you. And before the words even make it out of your mouth, you run them through a filter. Will this start a fight? Will they dismiss it? Will they sigh and look away? Will I spend the next hour wishing I had just stayed quiet? So you change it, you soften it, you shrink it down into something safer. Or you swallow it entirely and just say, nothing, I'm fine. And the worst part is, you've done this so many times that it has started to feel normal. You've stopped expecting to be fully heard. And when you stop expecting it, you stop even trying. That slow withdrawal from your own voice is one of the loneliest things a person can experience inside a relationship, because you're not just disconnected from your partner at that point. You're disconnected from yourself. Psychologist John Gottman, who has spent decades studying what makes relationships thrive or fail, identifies emotional safety as the single most important foundation of lasting connection. When you don't feel safe enough to say what's true for you, that foundation has cracked, and you can feel it even if you can't name it. Sign number 2, you feel more like roommates than partners. You share a home, maybe you share a bed, you coordinate schedules, split bills, discuss logistics. On paper, the relationship exists, but somewhere along the way the warmth went quiet, the curiosity went quiet, the reaching toward each other went quiet. You can't pinpoint when it happened. There was no single moment, no dramatic event. It was more like a slow drift. 2 people moving through parallel lives in the same space, brushing past each other without really touching. This is what researchers call emotional distance, and it builds not from one big betrayal, but from hundreds of tiny missed moments. The times one person reached out, not always with words, sometimes just with a look or a gesture, and the other person wasn't there to meet it. Over time, those missed connections pile up into a silence that starts to feel permanent. If your relationship has started to feel more functional than intimate, that loneliness you're carrying is real, and it deserves to be taken seriously. Sign number 3, you celebrate your wins alone. Something good happens. You get news you've been waiting for. You have a moment that makes you feel proud of yourself. And your first instinct is not to call your partner. Maybe you hesitate. Maybe you already know the reaction won't match the moment. A distracted smile, a quick response, back to the phone. So you share it somewhere else, or you keep it to yourself, or you talk to a friend who actually lights up for you. That right there, that quiet decision to stop bringing your joy to your partner, That is one of the most telling signs that something in the relationship has gone cold. Intimacy isn't only about navigating hard times together. It's about being witnessed in your good moments, too. It's about having someone who gets genuinely excited for you, whose eyes actually brighten when something works out for you. When that stops happening, you start to feel invisible in the most fundamental way, not just unloved, unseen. Sign number 4, you cry without fully knowing why. It sneaks up on you. In the shower, in your car on the way home, in those quiet minutes before you fall asleep when the noise of the day finally stops and the real feelings surface. You're not sure what exactly you're grieving. The relationship isn't over. Nothing dramatic happened. But there is a sadness sitting in your chest that you can't quite explain. A kind of mourning for something you can't fully name. What you might be mourning is closeness. Not the relationship itself, but the version of it you needed it to be. The version where you felt chosen. Where you felt like your inner world mattered to someone. Where love didn't feel like something you had to earn or manage or be careful around. That unnamed sadness is not weakness. It is your heart being honest about something your mind hasn't fully let yourself acknowledge yet. And it is worth paying attention to. Sign number 5. Physical closeness feels empty. There can be touch without tenderness. There can be proximity without presence. And when you've been emotionally disconnected from your partner for long enough, even physical closeness can start to feel hollow, like going through the motions of intimacy without the thing that actually makes it intimate. You might find yourself pulling away from touch that used to feel comforting, or tolerating closeness rather than wanting it. Not because anything is wrong with you, but because the body is deeply honest. It knows the difference between being held by someone who is truly there with you and being held by someone whose mind is somewhere else entirely. Dr. Sue Johnson, the founder of emotionally focused therapy, describes emotional responsiveness as the heart of physical intimacy. When two people are genuinely tuned into each other, when there is real safety and real presence between them, touch carries meaning. When that attunement is gone, touch can feel like the loneliest thing in the world because it reminds you of exactly what's missing. Sign number 6. You've stopped imagining a future together. Early in a relationship, the future feels wide open and exciting. You talk about places you want to go, things you want to build, what your life together might look like in 5 years. Those conversations carry a kind of aliveness, like the relationship has direction, like you're moving towards something together. But when loneliness sets in deeply enough, those visions start to quietly disappear. You stop planning. You stop dreaming out loud with this person. And sometimes without even making a conscious decision, you start imagining a future that looks different, a future that is lighter, a future where you don't feel this particular kind of tired. That shift is not something to be ashamed of. It's information. It's your deepest self signaling that something needs to change, whether that means working to rebuild what's been lost, or having an honest conversation you've been avoiding, or finally giving yourself permission to want more than what you currently have. I want to close with this. Feeling alone in a relationship is not a sign that love is supposed to hurt. It is not something you have to simply accept or push through in silence. You are allowed to need more. You are allowed to expect genuine presence, real warmth, and a love that makes you feel seen. If any of this resonated with you, please don't let it sit. Talk to your partner if you can. Talk to a therapist if you need to. Talk to someone. Because loneliness that stays unspoken has a way of growing until it fills the whole room. You deserve to feel found, even in a relationship, especially in a relationship. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one.